Hello everybody. We are in Bogota in Colombia. A man named Fabio by the Don Louis Souris, drug baron, and his boss Fabio tells him that he is resigning and will entrust all the accounting of the cartel to another partner whom Louis Souris says he will miss, and makes a toast to the life of Fabio. Fabio leaves and whoseLouis salutes Marco, his right arm, but Fabio is not stupid. He knows that his boss will take revenge on anyone who wants to leave the life of drug trafficking, including him. Fabio takes 3 stations loyal to him and runs home knowing he only has an hour to leave the country. Fabio arrives home and tells his wife Alicia that the time has come. He tells his young daughter Cataleya to pack her bags, but she says she is already ready. Tells her coke or something will happen. She should go to the US embassy and give them a microchip. It has all the information about the illegal activities of Don Louis. Louis also gives the address of his brother. Fabio then offers his daughter his Cataleya flower necklace. He was named so because his mother has always grown them. A few minutes later, Marco is several cartel members show up and massacre the men of Fabio. Fabio and Alicia take up arms and try to hold the men back, but their camera Cataleya sits at the table in shock and listens to the gunshots. She quickly swallows Marco's microchip and the men approach Cataleya. Marco pretends to being friendly, saying he was a friend of his father. But Fabio took something from Jean-Louis the microchip. Cataleya walks over and grabs a knife placed under the table and the dagger in her hand. Cataleya goes through a window and climbs a ledge. Apparently her parents taught her to survive in case something similar happens. She escapes as Marco's cartel henchmen are followed despite the presence of men's horse riders on motorcycles and cars. Cataleya escapes them by fleeing into the sewers. She opens a manhole and goes to the United States Embassy, where she is sent by an agent who asks him about his father. Cataleya says he is dead. The man asks him if his father had something. Cataleya forces himself to vomit and gives him the microchip. The microchip contains recordings of all the activities of Don Louis. The officer looks at her shocked and asks her if she realizes what he had. Cataleya answers, my passport. In exchange for the chip, they take her out of the country and give her the documents. An American escort saw agent asks to go to the bathroom and escapes through the window. She takes a bus ticket to Chicago, where her father told her to go. She goes to a difficult neighborhood and asks for millions. Emilio is Fabio's brother and his uncle. When Emilio loves what he feels upset, the greenhouse in her arms. Cataleya finally manages to let go and cries in her uncle's arms. The next day, Emilio takes her to a private school and bribes the principal to accept in the middle of the school year. When he part, Cataleya is angry because she thinks she can't learn anything in school. She wants to learn how to be a killer. Emilio suddenly pulls out a gun and shoots a person driving a car. He tells her that there are a dozen assassins for hire that he could teach her and who would be dead in 5 years if she wants to do this and become smart. She must go to school. She must know how people think. Cataleya, listening to the movie, flashes back to the present, where 2 police officers are sitting in a car talking about their wife when they are run over by a drunk driver. He pulls out a woman who babies incoherently. He quickly stops her and we see a flower lay on her arm. The woman is Cataleya, now an adult. He takes her to the police station. There she is arrested for drunk driving and placed in a cell for the night. That night, the US Marshals arrive with the prisoner. He takes her to a cell. Cataleya wakes up. Her aide was a Russian to enter the police station. The prisoner and the target. She changes her clothes and puts on a tight black jumpsuit and picks up the lock. She takes a spoon that was in a coffee cup in her cell. She drives away the cameras so as not to be seen, then water in the cooler, and goes to the electrical room. She places the cup and the spoon in such a way as to cause a spark and goes to the air ducts. After a few seconds, enough water from the cup escapes to short circuit the Cataleya power supply. Manages to cross a now stop fan just before the power is on. It descends into the men's toilet. The policeman guarding the prisoner notices that he has no coffee and leaves the room. He enters the bathroom and, knocked out by Cataleya, the woman drags her body in front of the camera to make the door open. Her opens the cell and punches the prisoner, waking him up. She tells him to unbutton his shirt. He asks why and she shoots him repeatedly. The marshals hear the gunshots and run to the cell to see the guard waking up with the gun at the trap for the murder. In order to buy time to escape, the marshals continue to search the whole building, and Cataleya climbs on the roof to escape them. When the coast is clear, she goes back through the air ducts, finds her cell, closes the wires and sands. When the sheriffs find her, they lay back and pretend to be asleep. The sheriffs have no idea what happened. Cataleya is released the next day after taking her fingerprints. She gets out of jail and pulls her hand. She was wearing a fake latex skin that reproduced another person's fingerprints. Cataleya goes home and dances to music. Cataleya goes to Danny's apartment. A painter and her almost boyfriend Danny knows little about her and only knows her as Jennifer. She is clearly afraid to show him who she really is. The FBI special agency Ross arrives at the prison and realizes that the victim and the latest in a series of murders he has been tracking for 4 years, 22 years. All they call the aggressor the tack killer because of the marks the killer leaves on the victim's chests. We see that he is from the Cataleya. Flower agent saw to Richard travels to New Orleans to a heavily guarded mansion. This is the home of Don Luis, who was not persecuted for his crimes. Richard shows the murder that took place in the cells of jail, but Luis and I have anything to do with it. Richard tells him the CIA was very nice to him. He got witness protection and was able to continue running his cocaine smuggling business in exchange for information, but Richard tells her that he knows something is going on. And Louis, what is it? After Richard leaves, Louis tells Marco to handle the situation. Louis strongly suspects that Cataleya is behind the murder since he didn't kill Cataleya the first time. Now he has to perform it. Meanwhile, Cataleya goes to have Emilio. He shows her the paper with his business card. He is furious and calls the stupid action. Emilio says he promised his brother to protect her. He doesn't never wanted her to go down this path. Defiant Cataleya says she chose this path herself and won't stop until Luis is dead. Emilio sighs and hands her the next job, a hedge manager. Started a Ponzi scheme, stealing billions and fleeing the country. People want him dead. Ross is at the FBI office reviewing security footage. Some of these agents think the killer is Cataleya seen on tape, but he can't believe that a woman can be such a killer. Cattle goes to her office, or big dog, the ribs she gives them. Stakes inside, finds herself grandpa, a friend of the millions. Cataleya walks into a safe and pulls out her fake passports, and we find one for Mexico. We find ourselves in Mexico in the villa of the manager of Equivit in opulence, surrounded by beautiful women with whom would have no luck if he did not have billions. A woman says that the sharks in the New York aquarium swimming pool, but the man tells her a drop of blood he will become his best friends by eating it. She pulls out a pistol and a silencer. The hedge fund manager stands up and notices that Cataleya wrote thief and the des in the flower on him. He is in his mansion and notices that all his guards are dead. He takes 2 guns and goes to the swimming pool. Seeing a flower, Cataleya is sitting on a chair. Effect noticing his presence, he tries to shoot him, but his guns are empty. Cataleya shoots him in the legs. The man begged her not to kill him. He will pay double what she was paid. Cataleya shoots him in the chest and he falls in the pool. Open blood flows and sharks eat him alive within seconds. Back in the US, Cataleya goes to Danny's apartment, but he's out to take care of some galleries. She sleeps on her bed and holds her shirt tightly. She clearly cares about him but is afraid to show it. Meanwhile, Ross is looking at the tackiller's business card when Danny is agitated and wonders what he did wrong. Cataleya met Emilio. He is furious to have seen the Catalan newspaper, does not know how to stop with his card. People are looking for them, showing that no one was killed in a bar, one of which was a friend from the circles. Cataleya refuses to stop, but Emilio says that it's not just about her, but about the family she left behind, that she puts in danger. When her son died, he killed a lot of people, but nothing changed, and he put his family in danger. Emilio leaves her a picture of his parents, a reminder of what can be lost. Cataleya sits and cries. Cataleya goes to church with Emilio and her grandmother. She seems ready to give up her quest. Before Jean, Danny is in a coffee and talks about his girlfriend Jennifer. Has a friend saying he's falling in love with her but doesn't know anything about her. The friend sees the picture and shocked at how sexy she looks. Danny is distracted because his car was ticketed. So the friend picks up the phone with the photo and calls his sister-in-law, who works in a police station. He asks her to check Jennifer to make sure he is real and that Danny will not be hurt. The man has no idea what he did. ROS and in front his computer when he gets a ping with Cataleya's photo. He traces the signal to the other police station and has the tech arrested. As he traces it further, Ross compares the photo with security footage from the prison, and the match is here. Cataleya is the woman He is looking for Cataleya at her house and calls Danny trying to explain how she feels about him animating the picture, and she freaks out asking who else. The side he mentions his friend. While Cataleya checks the perimeter of her apartment, the SWAT is there to stop her. She opens the shower and climbs into a well to escape her apartment. She walks through several photos. He traces the signal to the other police station and has the tech arrested as he traces it further. Ross compares the photo with security footage from the prison, and the match is here. Cataleya is the woman. He is looking for Cataleya at her house and calls Danny trying to explain how she feels about him animating the picture, and she freaks out asking who else. The side he mentions his friend. While Cataleya checks the and cries, Cataleya goes to church with Emilio and her grandmother. She seems ready to give up her quest. Before Jean, Danny is in a coffee and talks about his girlfriend Jennifer has a friend saying he's falling in love with her but doesn't know anything about her. The friend sees the picture and shocked at how sexy she looks. Danny is distracted because his car was ticketed. So the friend picks up the phone with the photo and calls his sister-in-law who works in a police station. He asks her to check Jennifer to make sure he is real and that Danny will not be hurt. The man has no idea what he did. ROS and in front his computer when he gets a ping with Cataleya's photo. He traces the signal to the other police station and has the tech arrested as he traces it further. Ross compares the photos with security footage from the prison, and the match is here. Cataleya is the woman. He is looking for Cataleya at her house and calls Danny trying to explain how she feels about him animating the picture, and she freaks out asking who else. The side he mentions his friend. While Cataleya checks the perimeter of her apartment, the SWAT is there to stop her. She opens the shower and climbs into a well to escape her apartment. She walks through several apartments and enters one. The tenant tries to make a fuss, and she recovers a harness and a sniper rifle in the bathroom of the man she placed there earlier. She places explosives on the wall as Rose and her officers blow up the door to her apartment. She uses the harness to swipe along the pipes to the garage. She shoots the cameras and manages to slip into another air duct before the SWAT finds her. She ends up in the subway, and her clips. Cataleya goes to Emilio's house but finds the place ransacked. Grandpa and on the floor dead. She finds her grandmother who died in the kitchen and feels sick. She looks for the circles and the hole tied to a chair dead. It's clear he was tortured. Cataleya tells her she's sorry and screams in a mixture of sadness and anger. Rose comes home and Cataleya is waiting for him with a gun. She motions for him to sit down. She reveals to him that she stuffed his chair with a very pressure-sensitive blast to that he doesn't try anything funny. Cataleya's floral tag was assigned to remind Don't Louis, but it took until now to get his attention. Cataleya Diarosky better get the information about Don't Louis from the SIA, where she will kill a member of the family once a week until it's as fast as she felt all those years ago. She promises the bomb will be deactivated, which will be gone, and that's the pink truth. Go to Richard and tell him the situation. Richard does not want to give the information. Ross receives a phone call. It is Cataleya who tells him that either Richard gives him the address or he will die. Richard laughs because his windows are back reinforced. Cataleya fires a shot with his rifle, sniper smashing the window. Richard gives her the pink address, asks about her family, but Cataleya hangs up. Cataleya goes to Pepe's garage. She takes some guns. She sees the two dogs and looks at them. She takes the armored truck and heads to where is in the Louis at the Manoir de Dom. Louis Marco directs the guards on how to deal with Cataleya. She is not to be taken lightly. Louis sensing something, it is a rocket coming towards them. Louis little barely out of the way as the rocket crosses the room. Marco picks him up and they try to get him out of there. 4 worlds in a car to start a convoy. Cataleya erupts with his truck, crushing the car. He gets out and fills the car with bullets, killing the men in the decisive shootout. He gradually kills Marco's guards. Marco and Louis in a safe room as he tries to kill Cataleya. After a few brief gunfights only, Marco remains with another man, Marco with his gun. The two begin a hand-to-hand fight. Disarming Cataleya uses a towel to try and choke the man. After a while Marco grabs the gun and is about to go, but Cataleya ejects the magazine, rips the gun slide and stabs him in the neck, killing him. Louis, realizing that all these men are dead but Cataleya does and he know where he is, leaves the Panic and takes one of his trucks. He finds himself in a dead end because of a garbage truck. He gets a call from Marco's cell phone. It's Cataleya. Louis tells him she'll never kill him and she never got him. Louis looks back and sees the two dogs from Cataleya. This tears in Louis without pieces, making his revenge complete. Danny is arrested by Ross and the FBI. Danny in this bit and tells them Rose says that although he is not under arrest he still has questions to answer. Danny receives a phone call from Cataleya. She tells him that she is fine and who has him 40 seconds before tracing the shovel, so that is enough time to ask 3 questions. He asks his real name and she tells him that it's Cataleya. Danny Dima and De if her bird will ever come back. Cataleya tells her maybe it will. One day an officer tells Rose that Danny gets a call from Cataleya. He rushes. Danny says I love you and Cataleya was me. Ross orders her to give him the phone but Cataleya hangs up before he can. Please, subscribe you for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like.